So now that we've talked about how to create a parts list, we can now go ahead and start creating a pipe network. So the way that we're going to go ahead and do that is we're going to navigate to the Home tab of the ribbon bar. We are going to select Pipe Network. And then inside of here, we have our options for Pipe Network Creation Tools, Create Pipe Network from Object. So if we had a polyline that we wanted to create a pipe network from, we could use this option here. And then we have our options for pressure networks, which we'll get to later. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is select Pipe Network Creation Tools. I'm going to end up creating two pipe networks. I'm going to create a storm sewer pipe network and then a sanitary pipe network. So what I'm going to go ahead and do first is create the storm sewer pipe network. I'm going to go ahead and call this network name storm sewer. And let's go ahead and call it dev storm sewer since we have been calling everything else dev. So we're going to go ahead and leave it as the storm sewer parts list. We can choose what layers we want to have everything drawn onto. I'm going to go ahead and leave it as these options here. I'm going to go ahead and choose a surface. So if we are targeting surfaces, we're going to target our EG surface. Then from here, what we're going to go ahead and do is you could choose an alignment that this is associated to. We're going to create something that's not associated to any alignment. So I'm going to leave this as none. Then we have the options of our label styles for our structures and for our pipes. I'm going to go ahead and select both of these as none so that we can talk about adding the labels later. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is click OK. And now we have the network layout toolbar that comes up. So what we have here as options are what pipe network properties we have. So our pipe network properties are our information, what our pipe network is called, what the layout settings are, so what labels are going to be placed onto the network, what parts list we're using, what surface we're targeting, what alignment we're associated with. We have the profile and the labels for that profile and the default layers for that profile. And so we'll get into adding pipe networks to profiles later. Same thing with sections, what layer to place your pipe networks into your sheet cross sections. And then we have our statistics for the network properties. So moving on from there, we have our surface information. So selecting our surface, which we also could have chosen in here, and we also could have chosen when we set up the network tool, the network layout tools. We also have the alignment selection. Then we have our option for our parts list. So we've set all of these already. So now moving on, we have two drop downs. We have our drop down for what type of structure we want to use, and we have a drop down for what type of pipe we want to use. So we're going to go ahead and drop down into here, and you can see from our parts list that we looked at earlier under our settings tab, we had all of these structures inside of here. What we're going to go ahead and do is use a rectangular structure slab top rectangular frame. Well, let's go ahead and go with a circular frame for a manhole type structure. We're going to go 15 by 15, and then we're going to go to a pipe. We're going to go ahead and go with a concrete pipe, and we're going to choose a 12-inch concrete pipe. So moving on from here, once you've selected your structure and your pipe type, you can start going into how you're going to insert your network. So you have your structure insertion points. You can also have default connecting points and closest connecting points. So moving on from here, this is your layout methods. So you can do pipes and structures, pipes only, or structures only. I generally like to do pipes and structures because we've selected our specific structure and our specific pipe. And then later, if we don't like those, we can swap them. So we're going to go ahead and now look at the next option, which is toggling upslope or downslope. So if you want to draft your pipe network going downslope, have it pointing down this pipe like this. If you want to draft it going from the bottom up to the top, then you have this option selected. We're going to go downslope. So we're going to leave it pointed like this. This is your delete structure or pipe network object. And then this is your grid view for your pipe network once you have it. So we're going to go ahead and select pipe networks and structures creation method. And then we're going to go ahead and start creating this pipe network by doing structure insertion points. So Civil 3D is now saying specify the structure insertion point. I know from looking at my profile that a storm drain is going to be required in this SAD curve right here because there's going to be a localized depression. We're going to need to relieve that water being ponded in there. We'd also need to do it here as well, but we're going to just start right here. And this is a crowned road, so I'm going to go ahead and need to have one on both sides of my road. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in into the interior corner of this. I'm going to place a structure in this location here so that it's in my curb and gutter. And then I am going to take this stormwater down to our detention basin. So I'm going to take this pipe and I'm going to navigate all the way down into our basin. Now, if I was doing this for real design, I would probably try and manage this in some way so that I would go along the curb line until I got to a property line and then come down along the property line for easement purposes. But for this example, I'm going to go ahead and just navigate all the way to the basin, and I'm going to outlet into the basin at this point, and I'm going to hit enter to get out of this command. So I now have a pipe network for my storm drain going from my corridor up here all the way down to my basin down here. Now I'm going to go ahead and close because I'm going to start creating a new network for my sewer. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back into pipe networks, pipe network creation tools. I am going to call this dev sewer. And I am going to choose my sanitary sewer. I am going to choose my G surface. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and choose my dev core surface for this one because I am going to be fully within my development corridor, except for as I get off and tie onto the existing street. So I'm going to go with dev core surface 2. I'm going to go ahead and not associate with an alignment yet, and I'm not going to label it yet. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I select my structure type. So I'm going to go with a concentric cylindrical structure, 48 diameter, 18 frame, 24 cone. And then I'm going to go ahead and go with a 12-inch PVC line. I'm going to choose pipes and structures. I'm going to go downslope because I'm going to start up here. And based on my profile, I know that my cul-de-sac is higher than my existing road. So I can go from my corridor cul-de-sac to my existing road downslope. I'm going to go ahead and do pipes and structures. And then it's going to tell me specify the structure insertion point. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to select the center of my cul-de-sac. I'm going to then go up along here until I get to a point, not here because I don't want to come across this corner. I'm just going to come to somewhere in this area over here. Then I will navigate myself over to an area somewhere in here. And then I will navigate myself back up to a location right here. And since we don't have a existing network in the main road to tie to, I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter to be done with this command. And then I will close this down and we will see that we have a pipe network with all structures at the vertices. And if I go to my prospector tab and I navigate to my pipe networks and I go to my networks drop down, you'll see I have my dev sewer and my dev storm sewer. And then this network 1 that we have is this pipe network that's running in the center line of the road.